Change is inevitable, but mastering it, that's a choice. In a world that's changing faster than ever, the ability to adapt and thrive isn't just an advantage, it's a necessity. Whether you are navigating a career shift, leading a team through uncertainty, or just trying to keep up with the daily demands, your mindset determines your success. In this episode, we are going to give you 3 powerful strategies to help you propel yourself through the next change. Stick with us. Hey everyone, John here. 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 Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how we can navigate through change by embracing just some simple practical things that you can do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. You can weave them into your routines. So that way, during the next opportunity you get to make a change, you're going to be prepared. Notice that I said the next opportunity that you get to move through a change. One of the very first things we're going to talk about is creating that growth mindset. And that growth mindset really allows us to flip the way that we begin to think about change. So you're going to want to listen to the very end because, again, we're going to go through some steps. I'm going to give you some challenges. We're going to give you some practical applications, and you aren't going to want to miss any of the content that we are going to share with you today. I appreciate you joining. I appreciate you listening in. Thank you for investing the time in yourself to create the best version that you possibly can. So let's dig into today's content. The first thing I want to talk about is that growth mindset. And it's not just good enough for us to talk about it, for us to explain it, for us to really figure out what it looks like. We need to embrace it. We need to own it. Does that make sense, Go Be Great community? When I say embrace the growth mindset, this really helps us change the way that we see challenges, that we see obstacles, that we go through change. It makes us view it as an opportunity rather than a threat. In 3 ways that we are able to do that is 1, we're going to reframe challenges. So the next time you catch yourself saying, this is too hard, I want you to say, this is an opportunity for me to learn. Thank you for giving me this opportunity for me to get better. That is going to flip the way that you think about that next challenge. And as you go through the change, it's going to give you a different perspective. And that perspective is what matters. My word of the year, perspective. Why? Because I ended 2024 with a lot of change, and I started 2025 with more change. And I quickly realized that no matter the change, it was my perspective that made the difference. So tell yourself, this is going to be a learning opportunity. This is going to prepare me for future challenges that I may experience. I promise that's going to help you. It may seem small, but it's going to make a big impact in the way that you get through the next challenge. The second piece, seek feedback. Feedback is fuel for improvement. I recently just went through a 360-degree feedback questionnaire session. And there's a lot of companies out there that do this. You can Google, there's some free apps and questionnaires. The one that I went through was part of a coaching program that I am involved in. And the gist of it is you send it out to your team, you send it out to your direct supervisor, you send it out to peers and colleagues. They answer 30 questions, and based on those 30 questions, it breaks it down into 5 areas. You got to be a little bit vulnerable. I went out and I asked everybody, I said, be candid. Please, this is to help me become a better leader, to become a better person, to become better in everything that I do. So I really need you to take the time to give me some quality feedback. I was able to take that survey and I turned it into actionable items that I'm going to use to develop my leadership skills. But you need to be open to that feedback. And there were some hard things on there. When I was reading through some of that open comments, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of like, oosh, that's pretty harsh. But then I got to thinking about it and I flipped my mindset and I said, thank you for the opportunity to allow me to get better. Because if you don't know where your blind spots are, if you don't know what your weaknesses are, we can't get better. And the next time that we go through that change opportunity, guess what? We're going to be just that more prepared through soliciting feedback. The last one here I want to talk about for embracing your growth mindset is practicing adaptability. And this is one, as I was journaling this morning, I got to think, I'm like, I constantly do this. This is something that I program in. You guys I've talked about my big calendar here that's on the wall. I program into that calendar opportunities to push me, to get me out of my comfort zone. I'm an introvert. I recharge through being, on my own, running, listening to podcasts, doing things that don't involve being around large groups. I love people. I love to be, out in large groups and interact, but that drains my energy. So introvert and extrovert, where do you get your energy? How do you recharge your battery? So I will look for opportunities to push me into an extroverted mode. I'll get around people. This last weekend, I went to a race. I did it on my own. I signed up 3 months ago. It's on my calendar the night before. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to be honest with you. I didn't want to go. I was beginning to give myself every single excuse about I'm too tired, I'm too sore, I had the flu a week and a half before, I needed to recuperate, all of it. And I said, you know what, John? I'm not going to let that stand in my way of this growth opportunity. So I wrote everything down. I got out a sheet of paper and I wrote down every single one of the excuses that I was telling myself. Do this. Next time that you're telling yourself excuses, you've already planned to do something. You've already planned an event. You've already planned, to go somewhere. Start writing down your excuses that you're telling yourself and then validate those excuses. Are they true? They weren't. So I wrote myself out of the excuses that I was telling myself. One thing, quit listening to yourself. Start telling yourself what you are going to do. I made a conscious effort to say, John, you owe this to yourself. This is a growth opportunity. This is going to push you past what you are comfortable with. And guess what I did? I got out there and I did it. That morning as I was driving, here was all the excuses flooding back, but I forced myself to get out of the car, stand at that start line, and run the race. And I was so happy I did. I felt so fulfilled when I crossed that finish line. And it gives me that experience. It gives me the fuel that I need. So next time, I'm prepared. Next time, John, you already did this. John, you had a similar experience and you conquered it. Gives you that momentum that you are going to need to face your toughest challenges. So those are ways that we can embrace our growth mindset. So here's the takeaway. Write this down. Get out your pens and pencils. Remember, I want you to be active listening, not passively listening in this podcast. So put yourself a note. If you're working out, pull out your notes in your phone. Put this down. I want you to find an activity where you can either upskill, so something that you're used to doing, but I want you to go figure out a different way of doing it. That is going to prepare you for change. It's going to help you embrace that growth mindset. And then I also want you to leverage new trends. So for example, that may be AI. AI, there's a lot of things that are incorporating, especially in the training arena. So I've made a commitment to myself that I'm going to get smarter on AI. I'm going to upskill my abilities in training to include AI. Make sense? That's your action for this first one. Going to help you embrace that growth mindset. The second segment we're going to talk about today, again, remember, we're talking about mastering change. We're talking about cultivating your mindset for success. So that way, whenever that change comes, because it's coming faster and faster and faster, you are going to be ready. You're not going to be reactive. We're proactive in cultivating our mindset. I want to take a quick break from our discussion today to mention a couple things. First of all, thank you for listening. Only 50% of our listeners are subscribed to our channel. Do me a favor, click on that subscribe button. It's going to allow our channel to continue to grow and give you updates whenever we get new episodes published. The second thing is our coaching program. People who want to work with me are looking to make a lasting change, level up, or get unstuck. I gave up on my dreams. I was a young parent, had to make a couple career changes. I went through some financial hardships. I had to learn how to flip my mindset and stay consistent. Our coaching programs are individualized one-on-one sessions where I will teach you a proven system and guarantee that you can reinvent yourself over and over again. If that sounds like something that interests you, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com and sign up to get more information. Now back to the show. We're going to build emotional resilience. We're going to work on building emotional resilience. Now, we did a whole season on this in season 12. So I want you to go back, take a listen to some of those episodes, all on the YouTube channel, all out there on our social platforms. I would encourage you highly, please subscribe to the channel if you're not, because you're going to get all these updates. But just real quickly here in this segment, I want to rehash some of the things that we talked about last season. One, resiliency allows you to stay calm and focused during uncertain times. But we have to go through the experience to build that resiliency muscle. So one of the ways that we're going to achieve this, develop self-awareness. And if you've been listening to these podcasts or any self-development podcast for any length of time, self-awareness is going to be at the core of everything that we teach, everything that we try to communicate. It has helped me become a better person, better father, better husband, a better leader, everything that I possibly can do, because I put the oxygen mask on myself first. My cup is full and overflowing so I can go help others get to where they're going. And self-awareness helps me do this. And what does that look like? That looks like recognizing triggers, recognizing those things that put me over the edge, recognize those things that stress me out, recognize those things when I am getting too high and when I'm getting too low, the triggers, the actions, my behaviors, the words that I use. That's what self-awareness is. So build that self-awareness. The second thing we talked about, especially we have a whole segment in this, so go back and listen, is creating mindfulness practices. So what does that look like? Journaling. Journaling is a big part of my daily routine. Every single day, I get in my journal. I have books. I probably have journals, stacked at least 2 feet high right now because I live in my journals. There is something tactile about writing down your thoughts, writing down your actions, writing down your goals, writing down what you're grateful for, what worked that day. It goes a long way with self-improvement. You can go back and look. Even when I do exercises with groups, I use a lot of chart paper through our meetings because you look around the room and you can see your journey. You can see where you started and you can see where you go, and you start making connections. And that's how our minds work, especially when we're making new connections. We have to give our minds time, and I am able to do that through journaling, through meditation. And again, I don't sit crisscross applesauce and, meditate. My meditation is just self-reflection, looking back at the day, looking forward into tomorrow. That's my meditation. So create a routine, and it's important here that it needs to be a routine. You need to practice it daily. And then the last one here in this segment of helping to build emotional resilience is strengthening our support network. So, surround yourself with people who cheer you on. There's one thing that I've done over the past 12 to 16 months, and that's tightened my inner circle. I have tightened my inner circle to include people who make me better, who challenge me, who cheer me on, who put up with my crazy, wacky ideas that I have. Strengthen your support network. There's a lot of literature, a lot of sayings, a lot of readings out there that, you're the sum of your closest 5 people in your network. I believe that to be true. I believe that who you surround yourself with feeds into your thoughts, feeds into the way you act, feeds into the way that you begin to think of yourself. Strengthen that support network. So the challenge here for building emotional resilience is I want you to implement a mindfulness technique. Maybe you don't journal. Start journaling. Maybe you don't meditate. Start at least some type of self-reflection. Another one here is just creating a pause before you react. So implement one of those mindfulness techniques, and then I want you to leverage your mentor network. So look at your inner circle. Who can you lean on to leverage? If you don't have a mentor, go find yourself a mentor. I consistently make sure that I have 3 to 5 mentors/coaches in my life at all times. And I also have a therapist. So again, strengthen that mentor network. The last one I want to talk about today for mastering change is taking strategic action. And when I talk about strategy, I mean being proactive, anticipating the things that happen before they actually happen. That is being strategic. Tactics are the day-to-day, the things that you implement, stay consistent with, that will help you achieve your strategy. But strategy is looking at your vision and making sure that you have the right steps in place, the right mindset in order to get there. So what does that look like? Successful people, one, they don't react. Successful people anticipate and then they act strategically. So they're already 4 or 5 chess moves ahead. They're already a year or 2 ahead in their professional development, in their upskilling. So that way, when that new job opportunity comes, when that new emerging trend comes on board, they're there. I'm not saying they have to know everything about it, but strategic thinkers are ready to go. So the first thing, set micro goals. And these are manageable steps. You've heard me. I used to do 4 to 5 year strategic plans. I don't do that anymore. We are in a fast-paced environment. So I'm all about 1 to 2 year strategic plans and then 90-day sprints. So break that 1 to 2 years down into micro goals to where you start sprinting 90 days. Where am I at? Adjust, sprint, 90 days. Where am I at? Adjust. You see where I'm going? 4 quarters a year. So that's 8 basically milestones for a 2-year strategic plan. Macro to micro. Set those micro goals. The second thing, adopt a test and learn approach. So what does that look like, John? This looks like don't be afraid to fail. That's why I break everything into 90-day sprints now. It allows me to go far enough to test and then readjust if I have to. And then 90 days, I test it again. Where am I at? I gauge, check my milestones. And then I'll readjust so I'm not too far ahead in the game where it's going to cost me a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of resources to go back to the starting line. Those 90-day sprints allow me to adjust on the fly. So adopt a test and learn approach. Gather data, then adjust. I do it in 90 days, 4 times a year. 4 quarters, adapt, gather data, adjust. And then last but not least, you got to have a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D sometimes. This allows us to be proactive in the way that we're able to accommodate change. When that opportunity of change comes knocking at your door, guess what? You're ready. You open the door, hand them plan B. If they don't like plan B, you got plan C ready right in your hip pocket. This allows you to be proactive to where we're not reactive. It allows us to, remember, act strategically. This is the action part. So have those backup plans, those contingency plans ready to go so that way you don't get caught off guard. The action here for this particular segment is I want you to take a process that you have, take a problem that you are experiencing or might be coming up, and I want you to break it down into those micro goals. If it's 6 months, break it down into like 2-month segments. So you're going to have 3 2-month segments. Every 2 months, you're going to test, you're going to adjust, and you're going to keep on going. Okay? Same thing with if you got a process or a problem. Break it down, go from macro to micro. It's going to help you out, especially allow yourself to start beginning to think strategically and take action. So let's review what we talked about today. When we talk about mastering change, remember, cultivating your mindset. The very first thing, you're going to embrace a growth mindset. Embrace that growth mindset. That is going to help you reframe those challenges. It's going to help you seek feedback and then practice that adaptability. The second part, we are going to build emotional resilience. We talked a lot about emotional resilience in last season. Go back and review. So develop that self-awareness and continue to work on the self-awareness piece. Make sure you're creating a routine of mindfulness, journaling, whatever that was, and then strengthen your support network. Surround yourself with people who cheer you on and who care for you. And last but not least, you are going to take strategic action. And here, remember those micro goals. We're going to adopt that test and learn, go in those little mini sprints, adjust, continue on, and then plan B and plan C in our hip pocket to be able to act strategic. You know, one thing, change isn't slowing down here. I don't know about you, but it seems like it's just coming faster and faster and faster, and time is just flying by. So in order for us to master change, begin today cultivating that mindset so that you can attack change, be proactive, and not reactive. I hope this helped somebody today. I believe in you. Go be great. Talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great. Talk to everyone later.